Okay, we are live on YouTube. We are not live on Zoom though. Okay. Starting in a few minutes. Okay, so if you're not speaking, I kindly request you to mute yourself so that we just avoid unnecessary background noise.
Okay.
Well, I believe it's now 7 p.m. Wednesday, April the 28th, 2021, and we can now begin our webinar. First, I'd like to welcome each and every one of you who is joining us from Zoom, from YouTube, from Kenya, from around the world, wherever you are. Even if you'll be seeing this video at a later date, I want to welcome you with a very warm heart and feel at home, and feel free to just join us even on the chat section. Introduce yourself, say your name, where you're joining us from. If it is here on Zoom or it is on Facebook, on YouTube, we have our chat section, which you can feel free to just say your name, and even as we go along, feel free to share any questions that you may get along the way. So this week on Wedding Wednesdays, we are very excited to feature one of our own, an alumni of Wedding Members Business Academy, none other than Terry Mugo of Tandy Weddings and Events. Her company has grown in leaps and bounds, and she's here today to talk about a few of her decor designs, the inspirations that went behind them, and how she achieved her clients' visions of their big day. We are also fortunate to have not only one, but two of her former brides who will be attesting to the good work that Tandy Events and Weddings are doing. My name is Eunice Moy, and as always, it is a pleasure to be moderating this panel today. I'm also an alumni of the Wedding Members Business Academy. We like to call it WMBM, which is an academy by Samanthas Bridal that trains individuals to be proficient event planners, professional event planners. I'm a professional event planner, and I'm also the founder of Yulita Surprise, an events experience and design company that creates experiences through surprises. I'd like now to introduce our panel, and very quickly, I'd like to introduce Terry Mugo, the lady of the hour. And I just want to read a very short bio about Terry. Terry Mugo is the founder and director at Tandy Weddings and Events Limited. They are a full service event planning and management company for both weddings and corporates, as well as event suppliers. Her passion, together with her team, is to guide their clients in creating stunning events based on their visions and ideas. They have 7 years in operation, which has enabled them to amass a wealth of experience in turn striving to be the best choice for their clients through consistency and predictable professionalism. And it is at this point I'd like to just invite Terry to say a quick word of hi. We get to hear her voice before we go on. Terry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Terry Mugo, the founder and director at Tandy Wedding and Events. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Joyce and Monica, and Eunice and Catherine for having us as Tandy team.
Right. Thank you so much, Terry. We like to call you Tandy. Sometimes we call you Tandy, sometimes Terry, but I know by now you are used to it.
Yeah, I'm used to
go
it.
along with it.
Yeah.
Yes. The next person I'd like to introduce is Monica. Monica Mwikia, and I hope I've said your name well. Monica is a former bride. She got married in last year, 12th June 2020. She contracted Tandy Weddings and Events to transform her wedding, and she's here today to attest to the work of Terry and her team. Monica?
Yes, hi everyone. As you've heard, I'm Monica Mwikia, and I'm here to share the experience and the journey that we had with Terry and Tandy, or Tandy, we can call her Tandy, I think. Yeah.
All right. Joyce Kimani is the other panelist tonight. She got married on 20th December 2019. And just like Monica, she also contracted Tandy Weddings and Events to do the decor for her wedding. And she's here to attest to their work. Joyce?
Hi, good evening, everybody from wherever you are. My name is Joyce Kimani. A former bride with Tandy Events, and I'm here to share the experience and what about that day. And they did not only do decor, they managed my whole event.
Last but not least, I'd like to introduce the lovely Dr. Catherine Masitsa, the CEO and founder of Samanthas Bridal, well, without whom would not be here today. Catherine, please take it away.
Yeah, wow. The two brides, all the best. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, I've seen the photos. All look beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to, I love hearing, wedding stories, love stories. I always say I live for a long time because your stories are always just so beautiful. And it's such a pleasure also to host Terry Mugo. I remember the time when you were in class, you came and I always say in class, there are those people who are wannabes and the gonna-bes. You are always the one who was going to be. You are always going to be the gonna be. I'm gonna be. And you are. So it's really such a pleasure to see you. You're doing many things. One of the things I think, Eunice, you may not have mentioned that she is very active in bringing the industry together, because together we can do many things. She sits on the board of Event Organizers Association. So congratulations, Tandy, Terry, Tandy. I've always called her Tandy. Yes. And like I said, she was always gonna be. So today is not my time. I want to welcome all the brides who are joining us from wherever. And I just want to tell you, don't be alone. Every Wednesday, join us. Maybe you have postponed your wedding, or maybe you have decided to go ahead with the wedding. Come here. Obviously, because of the circumstances, like everybody knows the circumstances that we are in, don't let them define you. So if you've postponed, that's okay. Just come for inspiration. Do not feel down. I know what it means to set a date, and your mind is set as a bride 20 years ago. Yeah. 20, almost 20 years ago. How the world has changed. Yeah. And even if you have decided to go ahead, like Monica here decided to go ahead with a wedding in June. Congratulations, you're a brave girl, a very brave girl. So I want to sit back and listen to your brevity. If that is a word like that in English, Welcome everybody, and Eunice, your time.
Okay, wonderful. So I think without further ado, we are gonna start. We're gonna begin the interview. And how we're going to do this, because this is a showcase, Terry, our Tandy Events, is showcasing some of their designs. So we want to highlight a few of Tandy's work in a bid to learn what went on behind the scenes until their various designs were realized. So along the way, Terry is going to be sharing her screen, and we're going to discuss the inspirations that went on behind them. We would like to start strong by highlighting the beautiful design that Terry and her team together put together for the Samantha's Bridal Wedding Expo that took place at the Sarit Center in 2020. I don't know if anyone of you got a chance to be at the Sarit Center Expo last year, the Wedding Expo last year at Sarit Center. But if you didn't, we have some photos in store for you. Even as Terry prepares to share her screen, we shall be on the lookout for the inspirations that went behind the look that they achieved and their thought process throughout the design and the execution. So Terry, I'd like to address you, and please tell us more, just before you share your screen and share some photos from the expo, tell us more about the genesis of the design that you executed at the expo. How did it come about, and what did you want to design, and how did this design reflect on your brand? Just before you share your screen, just tell us a bit more about what you executed and the genesis of the design. Terry?
Oh, sorry. When I thought about the expo, I thought of doing something that's different and that's out of the norm. Something when I decided that we're going ahead to do the expo, the first theme color that came to my head was emerald. And then I thought, how am I going to work with the color? So I thought it through, and now we came up with doing a Hawaiian setup. If you look into the details, we have it's a Hawaiian theme. Like we have the pineapple. We had it was a real pineapple that we sprayed and did flowers on it. We have the kind of flowers that we chose were to bring out our theme, our choice of theme. Yeah.
Okay, and so what do you think your brand reflected? If someone was to walk through your stand, what did you want them to take out of that experience?
I wanted people to know that they can have a different kind of a setup, not the norm that we are used to, round table, same kind of centerpiece. The idea was having your mind go wild and have an idea and just put things together and have something nice come out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now that we have a few ideas behind your thought process and the execution, please allow me to just ask you to share your screen so that
Okay.
you can also have a visual of what you're talking about, really. Okay.
Yeah.
Please just maximize it. Yes.
I have.
So this angle is from a distance, what you should
Yeah.
see from a distance.
Yeah.
Okay, please go next to the next slide. Okay, let's go forth and then we'll talk about this first. There's something that I'm looking for so that we can start the conversation.
There?
Yes, yes, we can start from here. And the first thing that I notice is that you have two different sections. Why did you choose to have two different sections, and what were you intending to achieve for both these sections?
The idea was having a dining for your guests. This maybe you can have it at your backyard, even for an event, for a wedding, maybe any kind of a party, a themed party. And then the other side was like more like a chilled area for the guests that are not too formal. Yeah.
Okay. Please go on to the next slide. Okay, this is another angle of the table setup.
Yeah.
Just go on to the next slide too. Yes. Now, I want to talk about table setting. I understand that there are various must-haves for a table setup when setting the table. So please take us through why the must-haves and why it is important.
When you think about doing a table, the first thing you want to think about, you want to know from your client is what is your theme. Because before you get to know what you're going to put on that table, you need to understand what the client wants. So first we need to have a theme. What theme are you working with? Are you working with a rustic theme? Are you working with, now like here we were working with a Hawaiian feel, a Hawaiian theme. Then after thinking through the theme, we need to now think through the linen. So we need to decide what color of linen to use on the tables. Then once you get to know the linen that you want to use, you need to know the most important part of the table is the centerpiece. So once you know how the linen, you know the theme, we can now design a centerpiece. Then the other things that we need to maybe also think about are if you're going to put charger plates for your guests, are you going to put napkins? Are you going to do a full dining for your guests? Also, once you also do the table, you also need to think of the type of seats that you're going to use. Because you want everything to go together. You don't want to feel like some of the things are misplaced. So then you need to also decide on the type of seat that you want. And then also you may also decide to add now other accessories like candles. If you want to have a romantic feel of like a dinner, romantic dinner, it adds, you may add candles. You may also want to add stationery. Stationery includes the menu and also the table numbers, depending with how big the event is, or you may decide to do table numbers so that the table numbers help to guide your guests on where they're meant to be sitting. And then the menu will help your guests to maybe choose whatever they may want to indulge in before they go to serve, or maybe if it's a table service, before the waiter comes to their table. Other things that you may also need to consider are if you want to give favors, for your guests, which you may place somewhere just on the table, which is just an add-on to the table. It also complements the decor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Terry, what do you think this kind of setup, which kind of bride do you think you attracted with this kind of setup, like the Hawaiian theme, the emerald, the yellow, the beautiful centerpiece, and everything that went on at your stand? What kind of bride do you think you attracted?
Maybe the relaxed bride who is not so mostly the people who like the beach weddings, the open setup weddings. Especially this would go very well with where it's an open tent, open area setup, or at a beach. It would work so well.
Okay.
So, and also for a destination wedding, this would work so well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Terry. Please, you can now end your screen sharing. And
Okay.
we'd like to now proceed to the second showcase. Yes. Now for the second showcase, I'd just like you to quickly brief us. What kind of event was it, and what was the brief for this deco? What were you told? What was the brief, and what kind of event was this? Just before we go on to screen sharing.
Okay. The second wedding.
Yes, the second wedding is the one with the spiral floral design.
Okay. For this particular one, the client wanted to work with her sitting room.
Room?
Yeah. So we removed everything from her sitting room and we transformed it. And then she just sent me a photo from Pinterest. She wanted it all lit with fairy lights and a very nice table setup. It was a very intimate, it was a birthday party, an adult birthday party. It was during COVID, so she had very, the guest list was small, so she could do it at her house. So the idea was have something very elegant and transform her living room to something magical.
You know, it's funny, even as you share your screen, it's funny when I saw the photos, I could never imagine it was in a living room. I'm really surprised. Yes, I didn't think it was in a living room. I thought it was in a, I don't know where I thought it was, but please share your screen so that we can see some of these photos. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is the first angle that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And maybe you can just go through the next slide. Okay, this is a closer look at the plating area.
Yeah.
So in these images, just go on. That I can start my questions. This is also another angle. You can see a wider view of the entire setup. And I think the table is very beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very elegant. And the seats too are extremely elegant.
Thank you.
Please move on to the next slide.
So that's it.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. So the first thing that I'm noticing is it is in an enclosed space.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of lights, fairy lights, and I can also see some candles. And I just want to know, why was this important? What did you want to achieve with so much light? And because you said
That was
it's
the
a night,
brief.
yes, there's a bit of effect. Yes, what did you want to achieve with that?
The brief was that she wanted lots of fairy lights
Mhm,
and candles. Then it was at dinner.
mhm,
So that's why we did it. The photo she had sent me from Pinterest was an outdoor one,
mhm,
but now we had to work with the room.
mhm.
So that's how we did. First we did because the one that she sent me didn't have the drips, but now since we are working with the living room, we had to cover the walls first so that we have a uniform feel on the walls. And then now we did the lighting on it. And we also liked the reflection on the draping when the light hits the drapery.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
can imagine also it hits the table because the table is
Yes.
made of shiny material.
Yeah, it's
So it
mirrored.
created a certain ambience.
Yes, yeah, it did.
Okay. But then we cannot finish talking about this particular look without talking about the floral work, especially the spiral, the centerpieces. I just want to know, what was the inspiration behind that? What are you hoping to achieve with that? Because it's quite unique, and I just like to know what was the inspiration behind that centerpiece.
Okay. For the rest of the setup, the client told me just to do me. So we're used to doing.
I think that's always a good thing. Because you can be as creative as possible. Yes, it's just time to shine.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we decided not to do the normal flower at the top. You know, when we use candelabras, mostly we do a flower at the top. We decided to work with the whole candelabra because it's a beautiful one. We decided to do a nice floral arrangement on it. And we also did smaller arrangements because the table is huge. If you look, we've also done smaller arrangements on smaller
the other slide can show the arrangement.
Yeah, there.
Yes, we can see a smaller arrangement somewhere there.
Yes, so we added that and also the candles to fill up the table because it's quite huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think we shall proceed to the next. Please just stop sharing your screen so that we can proceed to the next showcase.
Okay.
Yes. And now I'd like to move on to Monica, our first bride of the night. Monica, on this show, we like to start with the beginning.
Yeah.
Because we just want to understand the end. So you have to go back to the beginning. And so in this case, we want to know more about your relationship with Tandy events, Tandy wedding and events, and how you got to know about them, and even why you chose them to undertake the decor for your big day.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now, as you all know, we did our wedding on this time of Corona. That was last year. So Corona had come, and then here we are. So as a result of Corona, our initial wedding ground did not because of these restrictions. They say at this moment we cannot go on with the planning. So we had so now we had to go ahead and find a new wedding ground. So we met. That is when we met a guy on one of our wedding grounds, and then he recommended us Tandy, and then he showed us some of her work. through pictures, and then we liked everything that we saw. So we were so much like looking forward to meet Tandy or Terry, because from the pictures, it was just wow. So that is when we knew, or that is when we met Tandy now, or Terry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm getting two things from that. I'm getting flexibility at this time when we are living through a pandemic, because you said, we're not going to cancel a wedding because, the venue we wanted now cannot have us. We'll have to look for another thing. And that's something that I can commend you for. And that's something also I can echo Catherine when she said you're a brave bride doing your wedding during the pandemic. But you know what? The show must go on.
Yeah.
I'm also getting the importance of building good networks and build good relationships, because had Terry not done that, then Monica and Terry would never have met.
Exactly.
Yes. So Monica, I'm just curious, what were you looking for in a vendor, in a decor vendor, and how did she meet those criteria?
Personally, at that time, like every bride, I was just looking. Personally, I was looking for something which is like simple but elegant at the same time. Yeah. So meeting Terry, she made everything seamless, and then so that is why we settled with her for sure, because I was looking for something simple and elegant at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were looking for someone who would execute your vision.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And so when you were closing your eyes and you were imagining your big day and you were imagining the decor, what was coming to your mind even before you approached Terry? When you were dreaming about your big day, what was this vision, if you can paint it for us?
Okay, it was just looking like beautiful colors, flowers, proper lighting, and for sure, I'm telling you, that is what, when I opened my eyes, I was walking on the aisle. That is what, I mean, she did not disappoint. Terry and the team, they did not disappoint at all, because that is what I wanted to see, and they delivered for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terry, I think it's time. And maybe you can unmute yourself, Terry. All right. Please put it on maximize the screen so that we can have a better view.
Okay, there.
Yes. Okay. Now, I think the first thing that we can do is go through all the photos and then talk about a few things. So this is the ceremony area.
Yeah.
Okay, another angle of the ceremony area. Okay. This is the reception area.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
There we go.
Okay, I think go back to the first slide, and I quickly just want to talk about the arc. What was the inspiration behind this, and which flowers did you use to achieve this look? You know, this one together with the other walkway flowers just at the end. Which flowers did you use, and what was the inspiration behind this?
We used the mums. We also have hydrangeas. We also have the greeneries, and we also have roses, different colors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So what was the inspiration behind this look? Because I can see that you were going for a certain look and feel. Why did you decide to do this? And why did you even decide to go with that arc and with those walkway flowers? What was the inspiration behind that?
Monica wanted something very simple.
Mhm.
And for the church, she wanted something open.
Mhm.
So once we did the brief, and we did also a site visit and decided where we are going to do the church, and also after sharing a few photos and seeing what she likes, that's when we decided to work with this backdrop. Since we were going to have a very open setup, so the decor will be, because you see the decor is at the bottom, so the decor will be well visible.
Oh,
Yeah, that was the idea behind it.
okay. And I'm just looking at the seats. And for those who are not in the wedding industry, you would not know that there's so many types of seats. And I'm just wondering, for the bride to be who is listening in, what is the name of these seats? And even why did you choose to go with these ones and not the other? Is there a way that, is it because it complemented the setup or the colors of the day, or what was the reason why you said, no, this is the seats we are going for?
This color of seats go well with the theme, and that's why we settled for this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what are their names? What is the name of this seat?
We call them aria seats.
Okay. For
Yes.
the brides to be listening in, aria seats. Aria seats.
Actually, I
Thank you
didn't
so
even
much.
know the name by that time. We just entrusted her, like, you do your thing now. And then the good thing about Terry, they really took their time. They visited the ground prior. Surprisingly, they decided where the reception will be. They decided, like, for sure, they really wowed us. We were not expecting this.
Yeah, Monica, I'm sure she was one of that bride. She let us be. So most of the
That is always wonderful to get a client like that, because you can be as creative and you can wow people as much as possible.
Yeah, she gave us a budget to work with. So we worked around it and we came up with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Terry. I think we can now move on to the next showcase. You can stop sharing this particular screen.
Okay.
Yes, we're moving on to the next one, the bold colors, the black and red.
Okay.
But before you even share, I think it's important for us to know what to expect, to know what kind of event it was, and what you were trying to achieve. What was the brief, really, just before you share your screen?
The black and red was, it was a ratio. It was a traditional event.
Okay.
Traditional wedding. The client, she didn't want to do anything traditional. She wanted just black and red. That's why there's so much black and red. So that was the brief. She wanted something very elegant. And yeah, we had to give her that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this we are looking for, because it's even before you share a screen, so we are looking for elegance. We are looking for something different, despite it being a traditional wedding.
Traditional event,
because,
yes.
You know, in Kenya, a lot of the times in our weddings, the weddings that we see, for traditional weddings, they like to do a bit of traditional decor. So so we're looking for elegance, we're looking for difference.
Yeah.
So maybe you can share your screen. All right. Well, this is different. This is different when it comes to traditional wedding. I was not expecting this.
Yeah.
You just maximize your screen.
I have. Mhm.
Okay, okay, okay. Again, let's just go through the photos and then we can start the discussion. Okay, this is a closer look at the,
Mhm.
oh, this is an overall look.
Yeah.
Wow, it's very bold. The black really stands out. And you know, I mean, I would be so afraid to do all black, a lot of black personally in my wedding, but it really stands out. And the first thing that I noticed in these photos is that the bold colors, they really stood out. The
Yeah.
black and the red really stood out. So someone
Yeah.
would think that an event where the decor is black would be very dull, but this one is not. It's very bold.
Yeah.
So what do you think influenced how you achieved this boldness? How you were able to make it bright, even though the theme colors were not bright? How do you think you achieved the boldness?
I think from the vases that we used, at least helped us to brighten the setup.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we didn't use a dull tablecloth. As you see, we used a sequin tablecloth.
Yes.
So at least it sparkles. So
Yes.
it's not so dull. Because you see, the seats are velvet.
Yes.
So those ones, they'll of course absorb the light. But you see, they all complemented each other when put together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Another angle, the seats angle. I just want to quickly mention this because I noticed that they're sort of different. First of all, I'd like to know why you chose to go with alternating designs. But then you have to tell us the name of these seats just before you continue, and why you thought it was fit to do this alternating design.
This is also to just brighten the setup.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, also when they're all black, it's also so dull. Yes. So that's why we decided to alternate the seats so that it's not too dull.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the name of these seats?
The one that doesn't have a back is called lax seat.
Lax, okay.
Yeah, but the first one that has...
This other, I'd like to ask Monica. I think she was listening in. Is it the same one as the other one in church?
Yeah, it is the same one, but now in black.
Yeah. Monica, you remember the name?
Sure, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, very quickly, I'd like to move on to the next showcase. You can stop sharing your screen, Terry. Thank you. Now, I'd like to move on to Joyce, who has been waiting patiently. Joyce, we'd also like to know about the genesis of your relationship with Tandy Events. How did you get to know about them, and why did you choose them to do the decor for your big day?
Right. So I hope, Terry, I was not the stubborn bride you've ever had. But okay, no. I met my sister-in-law. She's in events, so she shared post. I think you are doing some promotion or something, Terry, and it's a package all in one that she shared with me. And then I was like, I don't like being stressed, by the way. So I talked to my hubby, and he was like, you know what, let's check them out. And so I remember when we called Terry, we tried scheduling timings, being December, number one. Number two, I had a baby, and I'm working. It was just, hands full, so to speak. And so God, eventually I managed to meet Terry around Yaya Center, and we had a sitting, and what I saw, I was like, you know what, thank God I'm done. I'm not looking for planner anymore. This is it. And so she's like, no, you can still come to the office and have a look at everything. I'm like, I just chose you guys, so you do your thing. I'm good. But no, that's what first, her work was really presentable. It was so catchy to my eyes. And so I eventually went to her office on Kiambu Road. And at first I was like, I must have been lost. But when I walked in, I was like, oh, this is it. And yeah, I saw what Terry could do for me. And I let her be. And of course, I'm not a flower person. So she was like, what? And initially, I wanted my wedding to be, rustic theme. And I wanted it to be a picnic at the same time. But then the weather didn't allow us to do it. But Terry went out of her way to, advise and told me, you know what, even with the tents, we can pull up something. So my first thinking was this, fancy name, Pagola or something. Yeah.
Pagoda.
Yeah. That one won't be the rainy season. I'm like, but that's the name I'm hearing everybody talking about. She said, you know what, we're going to pull up something and we'll still have your rustic theme in it. And yeah, she did good for me. And so not just decor, I told her she had a very good pricing for, the food and everything. I think she basically did everything. She recommended the MC, only that the photographer we wanted to use with her, they were engaged like for the December. Oh my God, I don't know. If you're planning a wedding in December, book as early as October. And for me and my spouse, October is when we decided we are doing a wedding in December because of a reason, like our parents are not in the country and they were coming in around that time. My best maid is not in the country. So it was like a rush thing. And Terry, really, I appreciate what you did for us. And yeah, she pulled it out and we were so excited about everything. When I told her I don't want so much flowers, she was like, oh my God, every lady come here with flowers. And I'm like, minimal flowers. One good, yeah.
Okay. So Terry, how do you think you executed what she wanted? She did not want flowers. She wanted something rustic. She wanted something. Initially, she had wanted a picnic, but now we have to do it inside a tent because the weather does not allow. Do you think you executed what she wanted?
For someone who wants minimal flowers and they want a rustic theme, it goes together, because you see, for a rustic theme, you don't need so many flowers. So it worked well for us. It was not so hard to execute it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, please share your screen so that we can see some images from Joyce's wedding. We can quickly go through it because of time. Okay.
This was the car deco.
Okay.
This is the church. That was the entrance.
Okay, I can see the rustic coming out.
Yeah.
This is, I don't want flowers. This is executed.
This was the high table.
Yes. So the first thing that stands out for me is the type of flowers that you used, because they're very different. Normally, from a lot of weddings that we see with the roses and the mums and the whatnot, what kind of flowers are these, and why do you think they chose them to execute the rustic theme?
Most of the time, we usually do trials. We do demos before the wedding. I usually don't like, when I started out, I used to notice that all the weddings were roses and leather fans. So if my wedding is red and yellow, so it's red, yellow, and leather fans. So I hated those centerpieces. So that's how I decided to just go to the market and look for different flowers and try work with our florist and see what comes out from now the different flowers. So when it comes to a rustic centerpiece, we'd go and look for flowers that will work with the rustic centerpiece and try out different setups, and what works, we go with that.
All right.
Yeah, we are very open to trying out all those flowers.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't even get to know the names.
There's so
I
many.
just
And
go and
we are,
pick.
yes, what I learned yesterday, Kenya
Yeah.
is the fourth largest producer and exporters of flowers. So when you say there's so many, I believe you, there's so many.
Yeah, there's
Yes.
so much to work with.
Yes. So you can
Yeah.
stop sharing your screen kindly. And we can move on to the next showcase. And we're just gonna go through the next showcase very quickly because time is not on our side. The next one is the one with the long table. And before you even go there, you know the drill by now. Could you just go through what kind of event it was and what was the brief?
It was a birthday. The client was turning 40 and she wanted to turn 40 in style.
Okay.
She wanted something elegant, something beautiful, and she had a small number, but she had a very small guest list, but she wanted them to have a very good time. So for that particular event, we worked with Hemingway's, and it was one of our best because she really let us also be.
Okay.
I think we are lucky we get most of our clients let us be. So we are most of the time we are able to flex and do different
Be
things.
as creative as you can, yeah?
Yeah, and be as creative as we can. So
Yes.
she also didn't want a lot of flowers.
Okay.
But being a very long table setup, we needed to know how to fill the table, and the table was quite wide. So we needed to know how to fill the table. So we decided to do very small vases and high candelabras, which complemented each other.
Okay. So maybe you can now share your screen. All right. This was our 40th birthday.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you can just go through the photos and then we can talk about it. Oh, it was in an F-frame.
Yeah, it was. And this was at her compound.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, backyard events? Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, this is a beautiful angle. Okay. Is this
That's
all?
it.
Is that
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So the first thing that I noticed is the very long table.
Yeah.
And I just want to know what influenced this decision to have one big table rather than having, small ones here and there. What was the influence behind this arrangement?
It's because one, she wanted people to dine together. She wanted to have like a one long dining table. Also, the other reason is there were so many other things that we were putting on the tent that if we separated them, we wouldn't have enough space because we had a cocktail area. If you look at the back, we have the bar area. And then on my far right, there is a cocktail setup.
Okay.
Yeah, and then on this other end, on the left-hand side, all round, we had done the food setup.
Okay.
So it worked well, so that we were able to distribute all the other aspects of the event.
Okay. There were some photos that I saw that you used a lot of different kinds of yellow flowers to achieve the look that you achieved. It's just unfortunate we don't have a close-up right now. But I just wanted to know, what was the reason with choosing so many different kind of yellows rather than just choosing, say, one particular kind of yellow flower, say yellow rose flowers? What was the difference? What was the reason behind choosing so many different kinds of yellows, and what do you think it achieved?
Most of the time when we do that, I feel when we mix the flowers, we bring out a nice, they give a different character, and then they give a good texture, as opposed to doing one flower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so character and texture.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think it came out beautifully. It's just that we don't have a very close-up photo, but I think it came out very beautifully. I can see from a distance there's different kinds of yellow. Terry, quickly we can close this and move on to the next one.
Okay.
And even as you move on, Rose Kabebe, who was here with us 2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago? Yes, the week before last, she says, congratulations, Tandy Events, you're doing a good job.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Now we move on to the next showcase.
Yeah.
And I think we have 1 or 2 more showcases to go. And I just want you to talk about the next one. What kind of event it was and what was the brief? Because you're going to be talking about the event that has the lights, the one that is at night. Yes. So what was the brief? What kind of event was it?
That was also a birthday. It was a surprise birthday. And I remember that birthday we worked with very limited time, as I don't think we had 24 hours to work on it.
What?
Yeah. So it was because our client changed the date, and she thought she had communicated to me, but she hadn't.
Okay.
So myself and our team, we are thinking the event is next week on Friday, but the client moved the date up. Okay. So to this week. So we talk on Thursday evening, and she's like, so I'll see you tomorrow. And I'm like, see you tomorrow. We're talking, it's next week. So we had to stop what we were doing and start now planning to do the setup. So it was rushed, very rushed, but I'm glad we were able to execute her dream. It was a surprise for her husband. So we had to work also on our timelines when he's not there. Yeah. So and then I remember we had a very hard time working with the compound. But it all worked out. Okay. Yeah. Okay. She wanted a very elegant setup as well. Okay. And she wanted a full dining setup. Okay. So, and that's what we did for her.
Okay. So I think we have gotten a good brief. Maybe you can share the photos, and then we can ask a question or two. Monica and Joyce, I'm coming back to you shortly. Did you say this was in the backyard?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You can hardly tell. Well, apart from the hedge, but you can hardly tell.
Yeah.
Please move on to the next slide, and then we can begin with some few questions. Okay, this is another angle. And when you say a full dining experience with the complete setup, I see it in all the glasses and the cutlery and the beautiful charger plate and the napkin and the napkin holder and the tall centerpiece and the elegant sequin and the wait, it was not Aria, it was Lux. Was it Lux or Aria? Yes. So Terry, what I immediately noticed about this event is it appears to have been at night. However, the setup and the decor was not dull at all, you know, despite having black table linens. So I do know that you achieved this with the help of a lot of lights. However, what can you say enhance this, you know, appearing to be very bright? What do you think enhanced this apart from the lights?
Maybe the choice of seats and also the charger place are clear, because they now bring the reflection on the table, and also the seats are very reflective at night. We did lots of fairy lights, and we also did LED lights.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hardly visible. So I can imagine there was a lot of lighting, and you know, lighting creates a good ambience.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. I think you can stop sharing this one. And with just a few minutes to 8, we are gonna go to the last showcase. And then even as Terry prepares to show us her last showcase, I'd like Monica and Joyce to just prepare their parting shots. You guys have been brides before. You have gone through the process of selecting vendors. You have gone through the process of envisioning your big day. I just want you to think about what you'd like to tell a bride to be who perhaps is planning their wedding, who is just starting or is almost getting married, or even just got a fiance, not really, a boyfriend who she sees a future with them. What is that thing that you can tell them about the planning process that you learned from your experience, even as Terry briefs us about the last design she'll be showcasing today? I think it's the pink one. What was the brief and what kind of event was that?
The last one, it was a birthday as well. It was a surprise birthday.
Oh wow, another surprise birthday.
Yeah. And the client didn't know what to expect. She actually just we had talked about the setup. We actually went to the venue, and she told me what she wanted, and she backed down and told me, now take it over. So on the day of she saw the setup on the day. She didn't know what to expect. So we surprised her. She was getting a surprise from her fiance. We actually planning her wedding as well. We've done her traditional events. We've been doing her events. So we did not even her birthday. So her fiance was planning her surprise birthday. So she just came into the room and saw the setup, and she was she told me that she was so overwhelmed. She couldn't believe that was her event. She actually was, her dad was telling her that we should just call a pastor now and have vows, do their vows, because it was like a
Wow.
wedding setup.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is
so
awesome.
she's our client that we're actually in the process of planning now her wedding.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it finally came true.
No, we've been in the process because we've done her traditional event.
Yes,
Now
yes.
her birthday. Now we're waiting for the wedding later in the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm looking forward to seeing those photos, because if the wedding was like, if the birthday story was like this, I'm excited for the wedding, and I'm sure it will be very beautiful. So
Yeah.
maybe you can now share your screen and we can see what it is that you're talking about.
So this is it.
This is the first photo. Oh, wow. It's pink. What name? What? I know there are so many shades of pink. Do you know this particular shade? Do you know the name of this particular shade?
Blush. We're working with blush pink.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is another angle.
Yeah.
There's another angle. Yes, this is another angle. Maybe you can
Yeah.
go back to the first photo. Okay. So pink, blush pink. The theme color was very well executed, from the table linen, the flowers, the napkin, even the candles and the bottles. And I'm just curious about the bottles. What was that? Was it some sort of wine, or some souvenir? What is that bottle?
It's actually water.
Water? Is it the executive one?
Yeah, it's actually drinking water.
Okay.
So we give it, now we use it as a giveaway for the guests. They can use it for decor. You can also use it as a table marker. You can write your guest's name on it, so that when you come to the table, you know where you're meant to be sitting.
Okay.
And someone can carry it away and maybe put it somewhere in the house or somewhere in the office, because it looks nice. It's a beautiful bottle.
Is that the color of the bottle? Sorry, I'm just batting.
No,
Is that the color
no.
of the bottle, or it's a socks?
No, it's painted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Spray painting, I suppose, or what kind of painting?
There's a lot that goes to it. So it's painted, and then you do the ribbons and the beads.
So it's a trade secret, eh? No, what? It looks beautiful. I thought it's a roselle.
No, it's actually drinking water, so they can actually now have water. Drink from the bottle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please go on to the next slide. I just want to talk about something. The next one. Yes. I want to talk about this material on the centerpiece. Because I know it created the overall effect was something that you were going for, I suppose. What is that material, and what do you think it did for your centerpiece?
This is the material that's running in the middle. Yes. Or the idea behind it was the table is big. So the idea behind it was to make it look full. Okay. So if you see, we've done it in the middle so that the table doesn't look empty. Because if we did just the centerpiece alone, the table would be looking so empty. So that's why we did this runner. Okay.
So what I'm getting is, even in the design process, there's so many things you can do to just get a fuller table, including having a particular kind of linen.
Yes,
And this
yes.
one seems to have some sort of different texture.
Different texture, yeah.
And feel. And you sort of ruffled it up a bit to
Yes.
create some sort of, what's the name I'm looking for? Fullness?
Yes, yes, true.
Okay.
You know, most of the time we will do a long flower in the middle, but what happens when you want to do just a simple centerpiece and the table is big? So maybe you can do such to make your table look not empty, because these tables are our creation, so they're quite big. So if we left it, yeah, bigger than the normal tables. So if we left it like that, it would look so empty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Terry. You can stop sharing your screen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come towards the end of our showcase, and I believe Terry has done a great job in showcasing some of her works. And very quickly, I'd just like to know from Monica and from Joyce how it was working with Terry and the Tandy Events group, team rather. How was it working with them, and what is your advice for a bride-to-be? I think I'll start with Monica. And Terry, you can prepare your parting shot even as we prepare to exit.
Okay, for the future brides that you are listening or you are watching, wherever you are, first of all, you follow your heart, but at the same time, you'll never go wrong with Tandy Events. For sure, just go for someone who will walk with you at that time, and then someone who is full of ideas. Like, for example, Tandy Events, they were there for me. I didn't even have an idea of the color. I knew the color I wanted, but I didn't know the name. But for sure, Tandy Events, they came through for us. And then someone who will understand, even if you're working on a budget, don't you might be seeing here, maybe you say, hey, no, this one I cannot even maybe they're for high class. No, don't say that. What I can advise you, just go to them, inbox them, just meet Terry. She's a very passionate lady, and for sure she will listen to you. Whatever budget you are working with, they will never disappoint. So follow your heart, at the same time find someone who is passionate and will work with you throughout the journey, just like Tandy Events. So I can never thank Tandy Events enough, for sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, Tandy, Terry, how does that make you feel? You have a glowing review.
It feels so much. It feels nice to hear that coming from a former bride that you've worked with. It really feels satisfactory. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica. Joyce, what would you like to say about your experience working with Tandy Events and particularly Terry? And what would you like to tell the brides-to-be who are planning their weddings or even just about to get married?
Thank you, and thank you everybody who has been listening to us. My parting shot first is to say that Tandy Events exceeded my expectations. I don't know why Terry, you didn't show the seats, because whatever I paid for, she gave me something even better with no extra cost. So that was so amazing. And Terry from Tandy Events was the best thing. I remember at some point when I was trying to fit gown, she came where I was. She was still trying to work with my crazy ideas that I didn't have an idea how to execute it during my wedding. But for the brides to be, go for whatever you need. As Monica says, just follow your heart, yes, but also have an open mind. Terry, remember we had a runaway carpet, but the church said, we don't do that. Yeah. So Terry came and told me, please just relax. I'll explain everything. later. So when I walked, I was like, where's my carpet? And then later she told me, okay, the church said this. And in the midst of that, she was able to do those nets on the seats, because our church is so long. So I was trying to imagine how I'll walk with my heels to the, to the priest, but she really did well. With that, she told me to have the open mind, and really it worked for me. It helped me to relax. At least she kept me in the know. Our grounds was so wet because it rained the previous day. And so for our rustic event, she did some haze, and the place looked really amazing. Thank you so much, Terry. And for the brides, all the best. Tandy will work it for you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, this is wonderful. And even before I just invite Catherine to share her thoughts, I know she has been with Terry from the beginning. She has known Terry ever since she was a student at the WMBA. And very quickly, I just want to mention WMBA. WMBA is a training school academy by Samantha's Bridal. One thing that Monica and Joyce have mentioned today is that you need someone who is reliable. So you don't want to entrust your big day with someone who's not professional. So the first thing that you need to do, my advice personally, is to ensure that the person that you are entrusting to is professional and is trained. So Terry is an alumni of WMBA, the training academy by Samantha's Bridal, where I am also trained. And so I think Catherine knows her from way back. And even as I invite her to say her final words, I just like to recognize a few comments from our attendees. Jen Mushoki, she says, very beautiful work. Congratulations, Terry, Terry and Tandy. Terry, I think by this time, you just have to go with it.
I'm so used to it. Actually, I don't see the difference. So Terry, Tandy, fine. We work with it.
Okay. Purity says thumbs up, Tandy events. Congratulations, Monica Mwikia. And I think also Elizabeth, she says, Terry, your work always stands out. I always enjoy seeing your work. Keep up, girl. And Rose Onyancha, she says, good job, Tandy. You've come through for us in so many functions. Very reliable. And you want someone who is reliable.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. I'd like to say thank you to all of you for making the time to be here with us. I'd like to say thank you to Terry for for allowing us to showcase some of your works. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Joyce, for giving your time and for sharing your experiences. And I also want to thank our attendees for giving your time, for even sharing on the comments, and for just being with us virtually. Thank you so much. And even for those who will be joining in the future, watching, thank you also very much. We do this every Wednesdays, and we call it Wedding Wednesdays with Samantha's Bridal. I'd like now to invite Catherine to just say her closing remarks. 15 minutes past 8.
Hey, Eunice, you've done really, really well. I feel like a real proud mother seeing my children doing really well. Yeah, Eunice, she's done really well. You need a surprise events, she's doing an amazing job there. And Tandy, yes, not many people know that you sell wedding gowns. You used to sell wedding gowns.
Yes, I used to.
You see, that's how far we've come back. It is so nice to sit in here and going through your work. My favorite was the one at night. I think somebody was turning 55 in their backyard. That was beautiful. Yeah. And of course, the sheds, all sheds of pink, the sheds of pink. That it's a world I love to live in. Yeah, as you can see my lipstick. Yeah, so it's beautiful. I don't want to say too much. It was really nice to see the weddings of the two ladies, Monica and Joy. Thank you so much for accepting to come on our show. And Eunice, if I say too much, I think I'm just going to spoil the soup. On that note, I think I will say good night and congratulations to all the engaged couples who are looking forward to get married. And Terry, all the best. I hope they will come to you because you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Yes, I just have to say that next week you do not want to miss Wedding Wednesdays because we have a very, very special edition. You know, Mother's Day is coming up, so you have to look out for that episode next week, Wednesday, same place, same time, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Sorry. I have been your host, Eunice Hui.
Eunice, give us a hint first. I can see a hint in your background there. Show us that
A
hint.
what?
Or
Yes.
what to expect.
I don't know if you can see, but this is a sneak peek of what is coming next week.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. You don't out. Yes.
You really don't want to miss next week. It's going to be a very wonderful session. And I just don't want to spoil the surprise. So you have to stay tuned, really. So once again, I'd like to thank all of you and wish you a very